Welcome to our home learning video about language development, focusing on listening. The next few videos will tell you all about some things you can do at home to develop your children's language and literacy skills. There are many different types of language and literacy skills, including developing listening and attention, developing children's oral language, reading, developing an awareness of letter and phonics, and developing writing skills. This video focuses on listening and attention skills. When we're talking about listening skills, there are lots of different processes involved in listening. Hearing, which is when we talk about children being able to hear what you're saying to them, but that doesn't mean that they are listening and processing the information. Then there is listening, when your child is tuning in to the sound and recognising what it is you're saying. And then there is attention. Children may be able to hear and listen to what you are saying, but they also need to be able to concentrate and do this for a sustained period of time. Listening is one of the basic building blocks of language, particularly in the early years of children's lives. But when we're talking about listening, there are lots of things to consider. We're actually saying, can your child hear what you're saying? Can they listen and look at you? Can they not be distracted by background noises to hear what you're saying? Can they understand what you're saying and know what it means for a reasonable length of time? So that's quite a lot to do, all in the one simple question of, can we develop listening skills? Children don't learn to listen overnight. It can be very hard, and lots of activities will help them to develop this skill and practice it at home. At nursery, we practice whole body listening, which means listening with our whole body, and we use Listening Larry to encourage children to listen well. When we talk about whole body listening, this means that we are looking with our eyes towards the person that is speaking. We are using our ears to hear what the person is saying. We have quiet lips, quiet hands and feet, and we are thinking about what the person is saying. Remember, when you're doing activities at home, you can use the same language we use in nursery. We're going to listen by looking with our eyes and by having quiet feet and not being distracted. It's also important to remember, just because a child's not sitting still and looking at you doesn't mean that they are not listening. Here are some games that you can play at home to develop listening. You can ask your child to repeat what you've said, for example, after giving an instruction. This will help you to know whether they have listened and heard what you have said. You can play games like Simon Says. If you don't know how to play that game, you can search for it on YouTube. You can choose your child's favourite story, a story they know really well, and when you are reading the story, you can ask them to complete an action every time you say a certain word. So for instance, if you're reading the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, every time you say Goldilocks, you might ask your child to touch their nose. Or every time you say Daddy Bear, they might have to gribble like a daddy bear. Here are some musical games that you can play to develop your child's listening skills. Take out the pots and pans from the cupboard and a wooden spoon, or any utensil really. You can make some taps on the pots and see if they can copy you. Can they do 2 slow taps or 3 loud taps, and see if they can do the same as you. You could also try making some shakers from bottles of juice. When they're empty, wash them out, fill them with different things like rice, a few bits of pasta, some water, seal them up and make a shaker. If you make 2 sets of shakers, then you can have one and your child can have one. You can make a shake and see if your child can find the bottle that matches the same sound as yours. Another really fun way to develop listening skills is by going on a listening hunt. You can do this in the house or out in the community. Search for sounds like the microwave, the TV, maybe a toy that makes noises. Or if you're out and about, you can search for the sounds of birds, cars, traffic lights. If you ask your child's key worker, they'll be able to give you a chart that you can tick off when you find the sounds. Children love charts in nursery. It's one of their favourite things to do. Another really good game that we play at nursery that you can do at home is a sound lotto. If you scan this code on the page, you will be taken to a sound game on YouTube. A sound will play and then you can pause the video, ask your child to name that sound and then play the sound again to see if they are correct. There are lots of different sounds, from animal sounds to community sounds like traffic, to different vehicle sounds like planes and tractors and trains. We spoke in other videos about how sometimes your child learns best when they're on the move, and listening is no different. Musical statues or musical bumps is a great game to develop listening skills. Your children can dance, and when the music stops, they have to stand still or sit down. This will help them to learn to listen. A great game to play at home, especially when your children have got lots of energy, is the traffic light game. It's one of our favourite games to play at nursery. Red means stop, amber means get ready by jogging on the spot, and green means go. When you first play this game, you can just ask your child to run and then shout out a colour, and they have to stop if it's red, amber they have to jog on the spot, and green they have to go. You can also get them to do other actions, so they might crawl or hop or skip. This is a good game for inside and outside, and one that all the family can join in with. If you would like a set of coloured traffic light cards for home so that you can use these to support listening, we can provide these if you ask your child's key worker. It's very easy when we have busy lives to forget to be good role models for our children when it comes to listening. When your child is talking, try to give them your full attention. Now, this is not always possible, but it's good to try. When they're talking, look at them, as that encourages them to look at you. Get down to their level so that they can see your eyes, and tell them that I'm listening to you and I'm looking at you. That's how you know I'm listening. And then you can encourage them to listen when you're talking by looking at you and saying, remember when I was listening to you, I was looking at you. A wee usual reminder about learning through play. There are lots of fun games in this video that you can do at home to develop your child's listening skills. But you know your child best. If they are not good at sitting, then try doing some of the more active games first, and do some of the games that require sitting for short periods, building up to longer periods of time as they get better. Make sure that when you're doing learning at home, you try and have nothing else to do so that you're not called away. Put your phone away and get down to your child's level to play. And the two most important things, give lots of praise and encouragement and have lots of fun.